What's going on, everybody? Back again because I've got something special here. And there are a lot of videos out there on the SMG-45, but there aren't a lot of videos showcasing an actual owner's perspective of the pros and cons, I guess you can say, or just what makes this thing special. Just giving you guys a little extra insight as to one of the most popular SMGs or PCCs or just PDWs that are out there to date. So obviously, we know that LWRC finally came out with this thing not too long ago, about a year and a half ago or so. But they've been hard to come by, very, very hard to come by. I don't think they anticipated the level of demand for this thing, or maybe that they did, and they were purposely trying to inflate the value of this thing. But in either case, they did not make enough to go around. And that being said, these things are going for a premium because they're sold out everywhere except for the few folks that have them for sale on gun brokers. So I've got a few things done to this LWRC SMG-45. So I wanted to first off talk about the brace. So the brace that comes with this thing, if I can reach into my drawer here, is this SB Tactical brace. Now, there's really nothing wrong with this thing. It's actually a really nice brace in, today's standards. But I personally don't like braces that are rubber. Anytime that there's a tail hook adapter assembly that is available, I usually jump on it. Anytime there's something more sturdy than this flimsy rubber, I definitely look into it. And if it looks the part aesthetically, if it's going to be pleasing after it's been installed, I'll jump on it. So I personally do not like these. I'll take them over the alternative, those big fat, original braces that used to come on guns from SB Tactical. They've done a good job, by the way, SB Tactical has, of making these things look more and more like the stocks that they are replacing. So kudos to them. This is not a knock on SB Tactical by any means. They make some really good quality shit. This is just like, I felt like this, $3,000 gun needed a better brace than this. So I was looking at alternatives. There weren't many for the LWRC SMG-45. However, the LWRC SMG-45 actually has a lot in common with the UMP for obvious reasons. They look alike. This was kind of like the modern day realization of a UMP that's available for civilian sale. And therefore, there's a lot of stuff that's out there that are compatible with the with both platforms, the SMG and the UMP. For example, these magazines. So these are UMP magazines, and this is a UMP brace from Tommybuilt. So Tommybuilt Tactical makes some of the best reproduction HK, G36s, UMPs. I mean, you name it, Tommybuilt does it, and he does it really, really well. Tom Bostic does a damn good job of bringing us stuff that we only wished we had for the last, I don't know, 20, 30 years. So this is the brace that he usually puts on the UMP, or I'm sorry, the TMP is what he calls it, 45. So it's a hard polymer brace. There's no, you can see that it's not like the SB Tactical where it's like a split in half rubber brace. This is hard polymer. It just so happens to have a strap around it. So if you could ever say that something is there for just technical reasons, you can say that about this brace. It's pretty much a stock. It just so happens to have the strap on there. And it's very high quality. It's very solid, very tight fit and finish. And all I had to do to put this on here, rather than that, was to unscrew the screw that holds the hinge together right there, and then really firmly force this thing in place because it was a really tight fit. But anyways, that got done, and in my opinion, it looks way, way better with that brace on here rather than this flimsy thing. And the profile, although it's pretty much identical, is a little bit different. The Tommybuilt is a little bit bigger, which I like. It just looks better. All right. And then I've got a Burris AR-F3, or basically a Fastfire 3 red dot on here. And it's got the AR-F3 mount and the shade cover right there. Nice optic. It's my first time buying one, so I'll have to reserve my judgment there after I've used it plenty. And you know, there are some cool things about it. I really liked just the unboxing of it, because they seem to know a thing or two about giving you a really good display in terms of how the box setup is. They've got a lot of spare parts for you. They've got a, you know, they've got tools for you to be able to adjust your windage and elevation. They've got tools for you for tightening the actual sight down to the mount. So really nice touch by Burris. They, you know, I've had some high power scopes from them, and they never disappoint. So far, I really like the look of it, and hopefully it'll perform just as well as it looks. But let's get into the SMG-45 a little bit. Just initially holding this thing and playing with it a little bit, I can say that, you know, $3,000 is a lot of money to pay for a PCC. But there are PCCs and then there are PCCs, right? The fit and finish of this thing is probably the best of any firearm I currently own or have owned. The machining, the milling, I mean, it's just freaking, it is amazing. Okay, it's amazing what they've been able to achieve. There's a lot of attention to detail here, a lot. Like, there are little things I could point out all day long, but just, you know, little things. Like, for example, underneath this rear sight, you know, you got that American flag etched into the upper, you know, with your serial number and all that kind of stuff. Like, little things like that. That's nice. The milling on the upper is freaking incredible. The milling on the lower is incredible. The fact that they've got nothing that's sticking out of this thing. It's all flush. Now, forgive me. I've got this magazine in here really without, hold on, without having a, having this thing charged, which is why the bolt release here is sticking out a little bit. But anyways, you get what I'm saying. It's like when this thing is charged correctly, and when there's a loaded mag in this thing, there's nothing sticking off of this thing. It's very, very, very nicely done. The charging handle, I thought it was going to be like, I thought it was going to be from, you know, seeing how easily people that have learned this thing are able to take this thing out. I thought it was going to be really scary, that you'd be able to pull this charging handle out by mistake. That's not the case. You really need to do it on purpose in order to do it. The fact that it comes with MBUS Pro sights out of the box is nice, but I'm not going to say thank you to LWRC because given the price tag, they definitely should include a good pair of backup sights with that fucking price tag. The fact that it has proprietary rails, I don't know if that's going to affect me, really, just because I'm not going to really put anything on here. A PCC, I don't think you're going to mount a bunch of lasers and lights and shit on. I want it to be as lightweight and, you know, just compact as possible. And I think that they've achieved that with this. I really like these rubber covers that give it some texture and some grip. I really like that. I like the fact that they've already incorporated a hand stop, which is awesome. The trigger is fucking phenomenal. Out of the box, again, for that price tag, it's to be expected. I love this grip. I love this freaking grip. I think that this grip, it's probably the nicest AR grip I've ever used. It's hard polymer all throughout, but then this texture right here is rubber. All right, these are rubber inserts. And they're scaled, as you can see. And it just gives you that extra bit of grip. And it just feels so good. And the fact that it also has a battery compartment. That also has a little slit for an Allen key. Is super, super cool. And I haven't shot this thing yet. And, you know, until I do, it's just, you know, this is just an aesthetic review. But let me tell you, aesthetically speaking, this thing is freaking gorgeous. It's one of the nicest looking guns I've ever seen. And the fact that it's a perfect blend of the UMP and an AR platform is like, it's every AR guy's dream to have a PCC that looks more the part of a UMP, but that functions like any type of AR-9 or AR-45. Because let's not beat around the bush here, right? The AR-9s and the AR-45s kind of look ugly. And a lot of that is because they're really skinny. And the angle of the magazine is usually, you know, going backwards. There's a pro to that. Obviously, the pro is that a lot of those use Glock magazines, which, okay, I get that. But from a guy that appreciates things that are aesthetically pleasing, just because it uses Glock magazines does not mean I'm going to freaking salivate over it because it looks nice. But I get it, right? So those guys are looking more for function over form. I think that the UMP mags, I've had problems with my UMP mags, my US made UMP mags that I was firing out of my Gideon Shadow. I had 1 out of 3 that was a lemon. And from what I hear, I'm not the only one that experiences problems with these mags. And I'm hoping that these mags are all good to go. and that there are no issues, but I have had problems with these particular mags. I know other people have, and I know that this is going to be one of the cons of this design, is going to be that regardless, if you're not willing to go out and buy the whatever they are, $70-$80 German UMP mags, which is super, super steep for a fucking plastic mag, then you're going to be buying a $50 American-made USP mag, which is still steep, and you have like a 75% chance that it'll function 100%. So that's not saying much. But what it is saying is that, for the sake of the look of this thing, for it to take on that SMG form factor, that SMG label, it needed to look the part. And if it was just like any other AR-9 or AR-45, it would not look the part. So, I guess like I take that chance, right? If you've got $3,000 to fork over for this fucking thing, you're going to take the chance too. You'll buy fucking 10 of these things and you'll be like, all right, so if I'm going to have a couple duds in the bunch, I'm still good, right? And that's exactly what you're going to have to put up with, unfortunately. But what I wanted to just kind of say is, love the fact that they've got the nickel boron plated bolt carrier. I love that. I just love that it stands out, gives it some contrast. I love the fact that it's going to run clean and that it's not going to need a lot of lubrication to keep it running smooth. I like all the extra little add-ons that LWRC incorporated. I like the fact that they've got a good trigger in it right out of the box. I highly recommend that if any of you guys are not completely sold on that SB Tactical brace right here, to look at this TMP brace as an alternative. Or I know that there's a couple people that are making custom ones out there. There was one that I saw online. It looked really nice. It was a tail hook that was put onto a custom Smith manufacturing brace arm, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, it looks like there are going to be a couple of folks at least that are offering some brace options on this. But if I'm going to trust this thing with my life, I need more than just that rubber thing right there. So I wanted something that was going to be sturdy, hard polymer. The optic I can't recommend enough, but again, any optic that you put on there is going to be solid, obviously. The fact that it's got really good quality and really expensive backup sights is definitely a plus. And yeah, very, very proud of this addition to the collection, and hopefully this is giving you guys a little bit of a close-up encounter with the LWRC SMG. I know that guys like me, before you buy one of these, or if you're planning to buy one of these things, you're just kind of foaming at the mouth for videos that give you some close-ups and some perspective on what you can expect when you get yours. I didn't show you guys the top yet. Oh, I love the fact that they milled all that out too, so you can see everything moving inside of this thing. It's a really nicely built gun. I mean, just in general, you're not going to be disappointed. I promise you guys, $3,000. I get it. It's a lot to take on. It's a lot to chew on. But I promise you guys, there are $3,000 guns out there that you'll buy them and you're going to wonder what the fuck you spent that money on. This is not going to be one of them. You'll understand. Like, you'll look at every little detail that's in here and you're going to be like, all right, I get that. I can deal with that. I guess my money was well spent. And maybe after I shoot this thing, I will be talking a lot more about how this thing is well worth the money. And yeah, that's what I got to tell you guys. So at least from an aesthetic point of view, if you guys are going to worry about spending the $3,000 on this thing, let me tell you, don't worry about it. It is worth all that in terms of fit, finish, detail, and just the badass factor of this fucking thing. It looks badass. It looks badass. I guarantee you it's going to turn heads at the range. And if it shoots half as nice as it looks, then we're all in for a little treat. Talk to you guys later. Take care.